So I have prepared a few questions, very basic questions, like what we have done in the entire, host family sessions. So I would love to, I would love to see you all answering for those questions. So very basic questions, like just 10 questions, and we'll just go. It's going to be a knowledge sharing session with lots of fun.
Okay.
So yeah, so the first question is not the first question. I think you can just go and introduce yourself, because I'm going to publish this on my YouTube channel, and people there will definitely not know you. So maybe you can introduce yourself, your name, your country, and a fun fact.
Where do you want to start?
You
drive. You drive.
Okay, let's go. We can start with you, because you are the host.
Okay, I'm Carolyn Hart. I am in the United States on an island outside Seattle, and that's my island and my ferry behind me. And I've done a lot of work with international students over the years, and this was a lot of fun.
You can choose one. Yes.
Oh, I pass it off?
Yes.
Okay, Aliu?
Right. Hi, everyone. I'm Aliu Baba Musami from Nigeria. I'm from Borno State and the far northeastern part of Nigeria. I'm a SUSI alumni on Education and Future of Work, University of Washington, Seattle.
Okay, so my name is Henrique. I live in the southernmost Brazilian state. I'm a student of environmental engineering, heading to my final semester. It's the next one. And I was a part also of the SUSI program with the University of Washington. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. So the first question is, how is post-SUSI life? We finished SUSI and you must be doing so many things after that. So how is post-SUSI life? So this time, Henrique, you can start.
Okay. So I was involved very much with my undergraduate thesis this last few months that we have since we have finished the program. But related to that, I was also talking with Caroline when we finished about this global organization, which is the Zero Waste Alliance. And by the end of the program, I was able to join them and participate in a few programs, a few events that they held with the community in my city. So I was involved in some of those projects where we could raise awareness about waste generation and waste recycling and responsible, ways of consuming. So I was involved with that. It was a little bit different from what I had planned during the SUSI program, but given the opportunity that I had, I thought it was a really interesting idea to kind of join forces, and participate in large group activities with them to raise awareness in my community. So that's it.
Great. So you can pass it on to somebody of your choice.
So Aliu.
All right. Actually, my first SUSI life was just in my final semester now as Henrique. So I'm doing my final year project and my design project as a student of chemical engineering. And I've involved myself in many community development and community action jobs, such as working with NGOs on volunteer basis. And then I've been working on my community action project that was SUSI, and about to execute the project in a week.
Okay. So Caroline, what were you doing after SUSI?
I just want to say you're going to have to take a turn too. You need to also tell us what you've been doing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, after you. I'll go after you.
Okay. I have a friend on the island who is a fisheries scientist, and he's literally one of 3 people or 4 people I've seen in the last 2 years, and he always comes up because he does presentations, he reviews articles for scientific journals and stuff. And last night he came up with a movie called Eating Ourselves to Extinction, talking about, he looks at the fish farming side of it, because a lot of people believe that eating fish is way better, and it is better in a lot of ways, but it's not the best. Chicken is the most consumed, and then beef in terms of taking resources and stuff. So it's been an environmental kind of exploration for me to learn about since we last talked, and we've gotten deeper and deeper into it because he keeps finding all these brand new movies and brand new statistics. So and that's kind of interesting, and it's especially interesting when he comes up with some that deal with various countries. Last night there was a lot on the Amazon, and so it's just there's not much else to do when you're in your house for every day, all day. So that's it pretty much.
Okay, so I recently graduated. Like when I was doing the SUSI program, I graduated. So I recently joined in Masters of Business Administration. So I'm pursuing my MBA. So in a university here, and I got busy, and my semester exams are going to start soon. So I was a bit occupied with all of that. And then recently I started working on my community action project as well. So it's on value education. But then since I'm dealing with the government school students here, I mean, because of the pandemic, there were a few restrictions. So I'm just waiting for the permissions to be granted, because I need students to participate in person for my community action project. So I'm planning for that. That's all. That's what I've been doing. So we have finished our first question, and now moving on to the second question. So I think like we had a lot of sessions, like virtual sessions, like official and unofficial, like for the host family. And what was the best session that you have had? Like what was the best memory, or what was the best part of the host family sessions that we had?
I think for me it was, the interaction that we were able to have with someone who is from Seattle. So Carolyn shared a lot of stories and about the city also, and about the USA as a whole. So that was a great part for me, and also with the other participants, because it is like an opportunity that a lot of people don't have, which is to meet people from other countries and other continents even. So this sharing of experiences and cultural differences also, for me, it was really great.
Okay. You can choose one.
Now, Caroline.
Well said. Absolutely. That I could not add anything else. In 4 continents, it was fabulous. The only thing that could make it better is if you guys could have been here in person.
Yes. So for me, I think the best session is every session is the best, of course, but then the session where we were talking about the cultures of our countries, like the best food that we eat and all of that. So that was the best session. And I still remember talking to Caroline about the US politics and all of that. So both of them were, the amazing sessions that we had. They were quite controversial, interesting, and an awful lot of fun. So that was the most interesting part. And of course, I agree with Enrique that, we are from different places. So definitely it's very good to know about the cultures of everyone, and also how the country is basically, what the foundations of the country and all of that. So it's really a nice experience for me.
I'm the last person. Actually, the best part was when Caroline was explaining much more about Seattle to us. I had the opportunity to know very many things about Seattle and Washington. We had much enough time, and the conversation was more of informal conversation. So we are much comfortable to share about our cultures, and I would say it's the best time of my SUSI because sharing time with Caroline and you guys was just amazing.
So that's great. So moving on to the next, like as I've said already, that we are from different places, I mean different continents and different countries actually. So definitely when we meet people from different places, like obviously we experience cultural shocks. So definitely, what is that one moment for you when you felt like, oh my God, is it what that happens, or is this for real? So what is that moment that was a cultural shock for you? Yeah, Carolyn, you can go first. You seem to be excited.
I was shocked that you guys know way more about the world altogether than my perception of Americans knowing about people outside the US. And I was very impressed. That it's critical thinking, B, it's global thinking. And it's something that I think that we lack in a lot. And this is a very progressive school system. And it's sad to see that we are so far behind the curve that you guys have laid out here. So that was the most astonishing thing to me. And amen to the food thing. I should have said that. That was a good one. That's all.
Okay, for me it was like we had a session where we were talking and celebrating birthdays as well. So it was when I realized that people also prepare different kinds of cakes. Like they were preparing it with vegetables as well, because I never knew that people prepare cakes with vegetables as well. And it was for the very first time that I realized that they celebrate birthdays in a unique fashion. So that was a cultural shock to me, and also it was very interesting. So Aliyu.
Well, the cultural shock, there's this festival that is being celebrated in Seattle. I don't know, Miss Caroline, this, I think it's bicycle race or something like that. I was shocked by the number of people because we shared the picture then. And then people in the center of the sea in some kind of very big ship. And I was shocked by this contest actually. And then the birthdays as well. I was shocked by many birthdays, as Rishita have said. I don't know, we don't usually celebrate birthdays in my tradition, but I was just so surprised to see some people doing that. Then I was even thinking of devising a way to introduce something new to my culture about birthdays. Because if all these kinds of people in the world to celebrate birthdays, then we are off to something as well.
For me, also the food, of course, because there are some things that I have no idea what they were, but they look like great, and also the reality of each country handling the pandemic, of course, because we all have different realities regarding that. So it was interesting to see how each country was dealing with it, and of course its population by getting to know all of these people from different places. So that was a shock sometimes because some of the countries are more have more restrictions, others have less, and yeah, that was one thing.
Okay, so the next question is like, in whatever we do, we learn something. So what is that one thing that you've learned from this host family sessions? Like, what is the major takeaway that you would say? I'll start first because I didn't start. So I think we are from different places, and definitely we have to accept people for who they are, because they are coming from a different background and they have different cultures and traditions. And obviously, as we already discussed, like at times we find some things weird because that is something not acceptable in our place, but that is something which is pretty much found in the other person's place. So I think accepting people the way they are is what I've learned. And initially I thought, like, will people talk to each other, or will they gel with each other so easily because they are from different places? But I mean, coming here and talking to people from different parts of the world is like an amazing experience. Like, everybody is so welcoming, so warm. So this is something that I really enjoyed, and also learned that, it is very easy to judge people, but then to understand and learn what they truly are is very difficult, and that truly makes a difference.
So I can say that regarding our conversations, I remember that during the host family sessions, I learned a lot about the US politics and the political and social context. I remember we talked about that with Carolyn, and she was very willing to her experience with us, because we weren't able to be there. So that was something that I learned. And I completely agree with Rishita that learn a lot about ourselves by talking to people from different realities. So that was very interesting also.
Elliot?
Okay, before starting the program, actually, I had that care in me that if I will meet, even though it's online, people from all these different continents, people with different culture, different backgrounds, I was thinking it would be very, very difficult for me to interact with them. But in the end, I realized that there are many things that are different between us. We all have different cultures, we have different ways of life, system of government. For some, there are many differences, but I could spot and find many things that are in common with all of us. There are commonalities, there are things we have as problems in all of the, you can just call them global problems. So I think if we have different cultures and traditions, if geography has divided us, definitely there are problems, and then there are the successes that we can all share. There are things that we can sit down and talk about, and we can propose solutions to. So I'm very glad and happy to have known that. If not for SUSI, it would be very difficult for me to know.
The commonalities, there's so much more in common than anything else. Absolutely. Well said, well said.
So the next question is, like, just imagine everything is fine, pandemic has gone away, and then we are finally in the US, and fortunately Carolyn is our host. So what would you do? Like, what is the first thing that you're gonna do after going to the US? What are the places that you're gonna visit? And Carolyn, what are you going to show us? So
I would, well, the first thing, the Seattle history. It is not the mainstream U.S. history. It is the frontier U.S. history. It's a whole different thing because it's more liberal. I was volunteering at the Chamber of Commerce the other day, and the statistic they're quoting is 99% of the people on this rock have been vaccinated. And that's not the situation in the whole country. The other thing is, I would find a way to take you guys down the coast to see Oregon, which is a whole different thing, and LA, which is different from anything else anywhere. it's too much to go east, but to go south. I'd like you to see the western half, which of the western edge. They call it the land of fruits and nuts out here because we're not exactly like everybody else in the country. But I would love to be able to show you guys the West Coast in it's a more global and diverse picture of American culture than it's impossible to get your head around the pockets all around the country that are. There's places that there's more Poles than there are in Warsaw, or something like that, Polish Jews and stuff like that. So I'd like you to get at least a slice, a real slice of American culture. But you guys are way ahead in terms of being global citizens. That's it. I'd love to know what you want to see, though.
Enrique, you can go next.
Okay, so the first thing when you look up Seattle on Google, it's the Space Needle, if I got it correctly, the name of this huge tower that is in the city. So it's something that everyone knows about Seattle. I would love to go there. And as we discussed a lot during our sessions about sports, I really like to get to know places by the way of their sports teams. So basketball, of course. So you have the Seattle Storms. I would like to go to some games, of course. The Seattle Seahawks, if I'm not mistaken. So that's something that I really would like to do.
The Kraken.
Oh, yes.
The Kraken.
That's a new team, right? They just got, yeah.
And as an environmental scientist, you will love the stadium they're playing in. It's the greenest building in the city. Absolutely.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, read about it's called Climate Pledge Arena. Read about that and you'll be astonished.
All right, I will.
Ali, you can go next.
When I go to Seattle, I think the first thing that I would want to see or visit is Microsoft, Amazon, and Boeing. These are the top 3 tech companies, right? Miss Caroline?
Yep. You forgot Facebook. You're talking about the biggies: Starbucks, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft. And Microsoft, I didn't realize how many things Microsoft owned. I didn't know they owned LinkedIn. I got a kid who's looking at LinkedIn, and it's Microsoft.
Yeah, and then Boeing as well.
And where?
Airplane company. Boeing.
Sadly, yeah, Boeing started here. Their headquarters is now in Kansas. Got a better tax deal. But there's a big museum and stuff, and there's a couple plants up north toward Canada, and there's one just south of Seattle. But their headquarters is now in Kansas.
Okay.
All right. Then as a student of engineering, I would love to visit all these tech companies. I just want to see them, how they work. And one special thing is, I hope the pandemic is over, and then I will hear that Omicron and Corona are just gone. I'll give you a very big hug.
A very big
hug.
I'm missing that somehow. I got reverberation.
A very big hug.
Okay. Still not sure, but okay.
Maybe I'll place it in the comments.
Perfect. Yes. In the chat. Yep.
Coming to me, I think all of you have covered almost the maximum places, but I still remember Carolyn mentioning about the ferry trip from her island to Seattle, and then the gum wall, and obviously the Space Needle that Enrique has already said. And as a business management student, I am also fascinated about the multinational companies there. So yeah, all of that. So everything that's possible, honestly speaking.
And there is a lot. It is kind of fun. I think it's fascinating, and it's great that I appreciate that the U does this, but again, I think it's very different from a lot of places. Certainly, you guys, and we tend to take water and boats and snow and stuff for granted, and other people don't. Did you see that there was a tsunami warning yesterday? We had one. That eruption, and they had a warning all the way into Puget Sound, which is all the way down the straits and everything, which is not the greatest thing to wake up to, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So in the morning they started talking. You're going to have I'm not in any danger here, but there are people I know that absolutely would have big problems. So.
Okay. So the next question is, I would like you to share something that is very unique to your country. I mean, we are from 4 different countries, so something that's very unique to your country. Very unique about your country, honestly. Who want to go first?
No, because all I can think of is we absolutely have got to be the most fruit basket upset country in the world right now. It's almost a joke to turn on the radio in the morning and start seeing what crazy thing is coming out now. It's sort of depressing. So anyway, sorry about that.
Ali, you?
Okay, something very unique about my country is we love music so much. And hip-hop stars, you can just easily become a star here in Nigeria than any other country in Africa. I have no idea overseas, but it's very easy to become a star in music because we love music and we spend a lot about music.
So something unique about Brazil is that I don't know many countries that are as diverse as our country is, because every state that you go, every region that you can be different, regarding so Brazil, and I may not even know what food is there, and it's from, of course, Africa, Europe, and all kinds of places. So it's a big place because it is very diverse in its people.
Can I ask Enrique a quick question? If you put Brazil on the U.S., how much would it cover? Do you know?
Brazil it's not as big as the U.S.
I know, but how much would it cover? Bigger. It's bigger?
Oh, I have to check that. No, the USA is bigger than Brazil.
Right. I mean, but do you think that you guys would be the east of the Mississippi River, or do you have any idea? I just thought maybe you'd know off the top of your head, because you have a lot of other. No. You've been looked at stuff pretty closely, I think. So, if you figure it out, drop me a line.
I will have to check that.
Okay. Cool.
So the next question is, I know endings are always sad and emotional. So, on the final day, that is the closing session, like we had our ambassadors, we have our host families, we had our co-participants, and it was really emotional on that day. So we definitely have a lot of things running inside our minds. So what is that one thing that you really, that's that one thing that struck you really hard? So what did you feel on the last day of the SUSI session, on the last day of the entire host family session? So what were your thoughts?
No, not the last one.
Of course.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's kind of overriding. I had hopes obviously last year when we did this, that by the spring, well, it's early spring here. In 2 weeks, all the flowers will start coming up, and the trees are going to start blooming, and blah blah. I thought that we'd be out of lockdown, so that maybe you guys would get a chance to come. I'm not seeing that so much right now. I think I'm just going to watch the walls mold or something. So I can't get past the fact that I got involved with the U because I really enjoyed sharing the country and having people come in and stay. And this was the closest I could get in the pandemic. And now if you guys go, I'm back to twiddling my thumbs or I'm not watching cat videos, but darn close. So.
Yeah, so for me, it was kind of the same, because when we were finishing the program, the situation was good at the US and it was bad here in Brazil. And now it's the opposite, because it is getting better as vaccination rates grow every day. And in the US, it is kind of bad right now. So yeah, I was hoping that we could meet, in the US. But I was also, grateful to have this opportunity and to develop my personal, professional skills. Yeah, that was it.
I agree with you. Even I was very grateful for whatever I had all through those 4 weeks, and definitely it gave me a chance to improve my skills, and also it was a very nice opportunity to connect people from different parts of the world. So it was an amazing experience for me as well. And honestly, I was also wishing for the in-person component to happen really soon. Aliyu?
During our last session, I became so emotional because SUSI became like a family to me. I have these amazing people that I do have to see and have virtual sessions with twice a week. I chat with, and then all of a sudden, the in-person is under probability that may or may not happen. So I was just so emotional that when next am I going to see these guys, maybe in person or during virtual program? Then it's only today that I'll see you guys. So I felt excited that I've completed my SUSI virtual, but at the same time, I felt bad that I'm gonna stop seeing these amazing people.
Okay. So we have last 2 questions left, and this question is like, I'll just give you some 5 statements and you just have to say yes or no. Thumbs up for yes and thumbs down for no. So the first one is, did you ever feel, oh my God, why did SUSI end so soon?
Run that by me again.
Oh my God, why did SUSI end so soon? So the second question is there any food that you thought was weird? Like, oh my God, people eat this?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to be honest with this question. Was any host family session boring?
No.
No. Okay. So I think the next question is going to be yes for everybody. Did you ever feel Carolyn is much more energetic and dynamic than all of us?
Run that by me once more.
So did you feel Carolyn is much more dynamic and energetic than all of us, than the participants? Yes.
I can't vote. You're talking. No, I can't vote on that. But wow. I want to say, because I don't know if there's going to be another opportunity. The technology that you guys are comfortable with, a lot of people in the country are not. The island, not so much. We're again a little island, and where they're pretty highly technological. But there's so many downsides to technology. If it's remote learning, which is hard on the kids, or people that are just glued to their devices or whatever, I think that this is one of the best uses. And it's so easy, assuming you've got access. This is such an easy way to bring people together. Put that in somewhere. Is this a report to your country or to the U and the SUSI program, or what are you, is going on your YouTube? So you've got a huge audience. Okay, interesting. Then put that in there. This is a good use of technology for the world. One of the better things, I would say. Yeah.
So the final statement is do you think that this SUSI experience will help you to grow more as an individual and also to become a better person than you are today? Of course. So last and the final question, if I ask you to, sum up the entire host family experience and SUSI experience in just 60 seconds, what would you say?
Okay, so for me, it was really great to feel welcomed to Seattle, even though we weren't there, by someone who has lived there, and also in a lot of places of the US, as I remember.
Yeah.
Of Carolyn. So they were really great. And this was a really great experience for us to have someone walk us through the US during the host family sessions.
Exactly, I felt the same, because I know it's really difficult to sum up the entire experience in just 60 seconds, but then I think this is definitely a very great experience. And honestly, it's really nice to see people expressing their opinions. They're always willing to share their ideas and also willing to learn from others. So I think this is a perfect exchange and definitely a multicultural experience for me, and I think it's the same for you as well.
Yeah, my sessions with the host from United States, we got much more time than our ordinary other SUSI programs. And my own version of the United States idea was that of a house of cards, but then it has changed, and it was just so great.
Okay. Carolyn, how was your experience? How did you feel about the entire host family experience?
Well, I would much prefer for you guys to be here in person, but it's, given the situation these days, it's been great, because at least I got to see you. I would rather be able to feed you and drive you around and show you stuff, but this is a it may be the new world. This is a substitute that I can embrace, because when I got my American civilization degree, most people were using it to go to law school, and I didn't go to law school. And what else do you do with the American civilization? You live in America, and everybody thinks they know what it's about, but they don't think about it very deeply. So you end up understanding that this civilization is the whole world in a kind of a watered down version, and that's an interesting perspective to come at. It's not, you're not the latest and greatest. You just happen to be a sum of everybody else that's contributed to you. And so this is cool, because this, you guys are people who have a broader perspective, and that's great. It's just great. That's why I like having you people here, where we can, be right face to face. But this is good. This is good.
So that's the end of all 10 questions, and thank you so much for answering all of them. And it's really nice to meet virtually after a really long time, and I think it's really nice to see you all again. And I'm so excited for this session, because I think it's been almost 2 to 3 months that we have finished our SUSI, and it's really nice to connect with you all again. So thank you so much for joining, and also thank you for sharing everything that you had in SUSI, you experienced in SUSI, and this definitely means a lot. Thank you so much.